Hello everyone, come back with me again. So I would like to continue my presentation about comparative literature in chapter 4. So this is my PowerPoint. So we're gonna talk about cultures and comparative literature. So introduction first. Hello, my name is Rafika Hanifal Ardi. I'm English literature student at UNP, Universitas Negeri Padang. Padang State University. So, I'm going to talk about literature first. So, literature is seen as a reflection of culture and society, portraying people's ideas and dreams set in the certain time and space, frameworks in the most creative and imaginary way. It both depicts and inspires social changes and is often treated as a credible source of cultural representation. So literature and culture both have a strong relationship with each other because for years and from the oldest of time, literature embodied culture. So the literary work itself seen from the culture, so people around and society around. That's why the literature work happen or exist because the inspiration is the culture itself. So what is English speaking word itself? By developing a literary knowledge of the English language, learners will also understand and interact effectively with the English people. They acquire effective linguistic and cultural competencies because the study of target language is bound to its literature and fine art. So what is actually culture? Culture affect literature because all writers, some more intentionally than others, write from the perspective of their culture. So the culture itself is inspiration of the author itself. So when they are want to create a literary work, usually they will inspire in getting the inspiration from their surrounding, which is their culture or the issue on their culture. So literature is considered the mirror of the culture in society. So that's why the most important of the literature itself is translation and the society life. What about the translation itself? When we want to acknowledge or knowledge some people, literatures, we need the translation to acknowledge it. So we need the understanding behind it. Before we need the understanding behind it, we should acknowledge the culture behind it. So the popular culture itself refers to the mediums such as film, television, fashion trends, or current events that have artistic value. The role of literature in cultural and societal development. The first one is the preservation of language. Second one, they paint the idea of society at the current time. And the last one, literature provides an entry point into improving the skill of reading. So the role of it, the first we talk about the preservation. So we will acknowledge someone language because of literature work. Second one, we acknowledge people's society in the current time. At that time, what happened at that time, what the issue, because there will be have a setting in that literature, right? Also, it will improving our skill reading, meaning that we curious about something literature, something culture, or maybe when you read about Afghanistan, you curious about what happened in Afghanistan, what is the culture of Afghanistan. It will improving your reading skill because of your curiosity. The traditional literary criticism. It's about the critic on literary work. So the first one is formalism and new criticism. So what is formalism and new criticism itself? The study of literature on a scientific basis through objective analysis of the motive, devices, technique, and other functions that comprise the literary work. New criticism view the work of literature as an aesthetic object, independent of historical context, and as an undivided whole that reflect the unified sensibility of the artist. Next, Marxism. Marxist literary theories tend to focus on the representation of class conflict. Marxist theories often champion authors sympathetic to the working classes and authors whose work challenge economic equality found in the capitalist society. So it's about the vulnerable actor in low worker and low economic people. Post-structuralism is less undefined as a theoretical movement than its precursors. Indeed, the work of its advocates, known by the term deconstruction, calls into question the possibility of the coherence of discourse or the capacity for language to communicate. Next, cultural materialism seeks to understand literary texts historically and reject the formalistic influence of previous literary studies, including new criticism, structuralism, and deconstruction, all of which in varying ways privilege the literary text. Next, gender studies. Gender theories came to the forefront of the theoretical scene, first as the feminist theory, but has subsequently come to include the investigation of all gender and sexual categories and identities. So it's about people identities, how they describe themselves as individualists or as person. Next, cultural studies. Cultural studies can be understood as a set of sometimes conflicting methods and approaches applied to questioning of current cultural categories. So, that's all from me. Thank you so much and good day, everyone, and cheers.